जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनच्छलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं प्रजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी शुभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपरिष्ठाय भूतलक्ष्मीचराधनाथ स्वामी नामिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपरिष्ठाय वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषण कम कर्तृ वाचालं पंगं लंघयते गिरिं यत्पादमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं हरि ओम। Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our discussion of Chaitanya Pravaha. We are on chapter 18. This is the pastimes of the Lord, where the Lord is touring the holy land of Braj. This is the second session. We are continuing roughly from verse 90 onwards. Lord Chaitanya is in Braj. He has met this wonderful Sanodiya Brahmana, a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. I'm so happy to be with him because he's so advanced. He also has a kind of ecstatic love which Lord Chaitanya has. And Lord Chaitanya, for some time, stayed in Mathura in the home of the Sanodiya Brahman, and he would tour Vraj. We discussed how so many people started coming and bothering the Lord there that eventually the Lord moved his base from the home of the Sanodiya Brahman to Akrura Tirtha. And then from Akrura Tirtha, which was again on the outskirts of Vrindavan, the Lord would every day visit various holy places of Vrindavan. We also discussed how the Lord met another devotee who surrendered his life to him. The Lord was already accompanied by Balabhatra Bhattacharya and the other Brahmana attendant. Now the Lord was joined. Of course, the Sanudya Brahman was also in Vraj, rendering service to the Lord. There was one more devotee, a Rajput devotee by the name of Krishna Das. We discussed about him in the last class, how he surrendered to Lord Chaitanya. He was also a very fearless, pure-hearted soul. And he renounced everything of the material world and surrendered to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. So the Lord was staying at Akrudar Tirtha, and one day, as the Lord was staying at Akrudar Tirtha, the Lord noticed whoever was coming from Braj and was coming to Akrudar Tirtha, he was hearing one common news that everyone was saying. And they were all saying, "Oh, Krishna has manifested again in Vrindavan. Krishna has manifested again in Vrindavan." So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a bit curious. What is it that the people are saying? So he asked some of the passers by, "Where are you coming from?" They said, "Oh, we are all coming from Vraj." And what is it that you're talking about? Oh, the people were replying to Lord Chaitanya, saying, oh, you know, Krishna has again appeared in Vrindavan. He has appeared in the Kalyadha area of Yamuna, and he's dancing on the hoods of the Kaliya serpent again. And we are all able to see Krishna dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, and there are jewels on the hoods of Kaliya. All of us who are coming from Vrindavan have had the good fortune of seeing Krishna again. So when Lord Chaitanya heard this, he was very amused, and in a laughing way, Lord Chaitanya said, yeah, yeah, yeah. You all have seen Krishna, that is true. You all have seen Krishna, that is true. Of course, what Lord Chaitanya was meaning is that Lord Chaitanya, of course, knew that what they were thinking that they have seen Krishna is not true. But they have seen Krishna is also true because all of them were seeing Lord Chaitanya. Because they were seeing Lord Chaitanya could understand that he laughingly said, yeah, yeah, that you are seeing Krishna directly is true. So it is said for 3 nights consecutively, crowds of people were going to the bank of the Yamuna at the Kaliya Daha area. And they would be so excited at night, they would see something and they would all come back saying, oh, we have seen Krishna. We have seen Krishna. They would report like this to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They would come to Lord Chaitanya and said, we have directly seen Krishna. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that by the grace of Mother Saraswati, actually what they were saying was not wrong. They were telling Lord Chaitanya, we directly saw Krishna. It was true because they were directly speaking to Lord Krishna himself. So Lord Chaitanya is himself Lord Krishna. But anyway, uh, Lord Chaitanya was not immediately wanting to correct them. Sometimes what happens, foolish, sentimental people, they have some illusionary experiences which they try to interpret as some divine revelations. So Lord Chaitanya knew that because of their own imperfect knowledge, they were accepting something else to be Krishna. But the Lord wanted it to be revealed in its own time. He did not immediately say anything to them. So Balabhadra Bhattacharya, the Lord's personal assistant, when he heard all these devotees coming and telling Lord Chaitanya, and he was overhearing all this that Krishna has come, Krishna has come, he got a bit carried away and he got excited. He told Lord Chaitanya, oh Lord Chaitanya, I want your permission. I also want to go at night and see Lord Krishna on the Yamuna. Please give me permission. I want to see. Lord Chaitanya gently slapped him. Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Oh, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, you are a learned Pandit. Why you are speaking like these uh, foolish people? Don't you know Krishna doesn't appear in the age of Kali in his form as Krishna? Why would Krishna come and dance on Kaliya in Kali Yuga, the Yamuna? These are all just foolish people, some speculations. They are mistaken. They are seeing something. And they're simply causing a disturbance in the society by spreading these kind of rumors. Don't become mad by all these kind of funny rumors. Simply sit down here with me, and tomorrow night you will go and see Krishna. Chaitanya purposely told. So next day morning, some very respectable, intelligent, learned men happened to come to visit Lord Chaitanya. And Balabhadra Bhattacharya was near him. Lord Chaitanya very, uh, uh, very curious way asked this gentleman, oh, have you seen Krishna? And these respectable gentlemen, they told Lord Chaitanya, oh, are you talking about that Krishna at Kaliyada? Oh, that is all. That is not Krishna. We went there and we actually saw, when we saw carefully, we realized that that is not Krishna. People from a distance are mistaking it to be Krishna. You know what it is? Actually, every night, one fisherman, he goes on his boat on the Yamuna, he lights a torch on his boat and he goes and catches many fish. So from a distance, as the boat is moving like this, people think the boat to be Kalia and the lamp which moves on his boat along with the wind to be jewels on the head of Kalia. And the washerman who's casting his net and catching fish, they think is as if it is Krishna dancing on the hoods of Kalia. It's all some people's foolish imagination. Huh? So, oh Lord, we realize that all that is false. That is all some foolish people imagination. Balabhadra Bhattacharya was sitting next to me, and the Lord is looking at Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Oh, you want to go and see? This is the Krishna you want to go and see. So the Lord was teaching that one should be very careful, especially in the age of Kali. People are very cheap. They, are either illusioned or they cheat people, huh, by giving these kind of false interpretations, or spreading false rumors and stories, to create some kind of a spiritual sensation. Then these same gentlemen that Lord Chaitanya was speaking to, they turned to Lord Chaitanya and said, "Oh Lord, that was not Krishna, but at the same time, it is also true that Lord Krishna has returned to Vrindavan. And it is also true that people have seen him. But that person that they were seeing on the Yamuna, was a fisherman. That was not Krishna. That was not the truth." So Lord Chaitanya asked him, "Oh, is it? Then if that is not Krishna and you are saying people are seeing Krishna directly, where have you seen Krishna directly?" And the people looked at Lord Chaitanya and said, "Huh? You have appeared in Vrindavan as an incarnation of Krishna. Just by seeing you, everyone is liberated. You are the Supreme Personality of God." And Lord Chaitanya had this one characteristic that to set the right example, that nobody declares himself to be Krishna. Even though Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, because he's a covered incarnation, he would never advertise himself as the Supreme Personality. Lord Chaitanya immediately put his hand on his ears. "Don't call me the Supreme Lord. No Jiva, no living entity can be referred to as Krishna. No Jiva can ever become Krishna at any time. Don't even say such a thing." In those days, it was quite common for amongst the impersonalist school to refer to as sannyasis as Narayan. Because in the impersonal school, because of this misconception that I am God, you are God, we are all God, we have forgotten we are God and we have to realize we are God. So sometimes people refer to sannyasis who have renounced the material world as God, as Narayan. Sometimes two sannyasis, when they meet each other by saying Om Namo Narayan, I bow down to Narayan. So they think as if they have become God by taking sannyas. Lord Chaitanya was not approving of this kind of philosophy. So Lord Chaitanya told these people, he was very direct, said, "No, a sannyasi should never be considered as the supreme, even though he may be fully purified from material contamination. A pure living entity, a pure soul, even if he has taken sannyas, he always remains a part and parcel of the Lord, just as a, a particle in the sunshine, a molecular part of the sun. That is never as good as the sun. Particle is a particle and the sun is the sun. Only Krishna is the full truth, who's full of six opulences. Shadaishwarya Purna Bhagavan. Living entity is only part and parcel, whether now in the conditioned state or even in the liberated state. So then he quotes a few verses from the scriptures, Lord Chaitanya, to establish that fact that the living entities are only sparks. They can never be compared to the original fire, which is the unlimited Supreme Lord. Because that unlimited Supreme Lord is full of all potencies like Sambit, Sandini, Ladini. Whereas the conditioned souls like us are small sparks who are covered over by the illusory potency of the Lord and have to repeatedly, because of being ignorant of one's own real identity, are forced to go through material tribulations. Daivi Hiesha Gunamayi Mamaya Durutya, that controlled by material nature, one has to suffer the various kinds of tribulations. So Lord Chaitanya was very, very forceful in refuting this kind of argument. And this wasn't the only time he would do this, that there were many instances where this would happen. And whenever the Lord would be referred to as the Supreme Lord, there are only very few instances where very privately with very, very great devotees who were fully pure devotees in prema, they were able to identify the Lord, and the Lord, as his reciprocation to these pure devotees, revealed his form as Krishna to them. Devotees like Sarvam Bhattacharya, devotees like Ramananda Rai, Rupa and Sanatan, and various other personalities. Selectively, the Lord would reveal, but publicly, the Lord would never accept anybody call him. He would chastise if anybody would call him Krishna. So the Lord was very particular that the Lord chastised these people. He even quoted a verse where he said, even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot be compared with Krishna because they are of a different tattva. What to speak of ordinary living entities? And then Lord Chaitanya very elaborately explained to this gentleman who had gathered there the difference between the Jiva. So after Lord Chaitanya explained everything, these people, they were actually very intelligent, very learned. They agreed what Lord Chaitanya says, but at the same time, they knew that Lord Chaitanya is not just a exalted sannyasi. They knew that he is Krishna himself because of his extraordinary devotion and extraordinary manifestation of devotion and extraordinary spiritual qualities. He told Lord Chaitanya, oh Lord, actually, no one considers you as an ordinary living being. You are Krishna himself. Look at your bodily features. Look at your characteristics. Your characteristics are so beautiful and just like Krishna. Your body is so divine. In fact, you are the same Krishna whose complexion is covered over by golden color. Instead of black, you are golden. You cannot hide yourself. And you are showing all the characteristics of the Supreme Lord. Just as the Kasturi deer, the musk deer, cannot hide its perfume, the perfume will spread everywhere and everyone will know that the deer is here. Similarly, oh Lord, you may try to make so many arguments to pretend as if you are just a sannyasi, but you will not succeed. Your characteristics are not just uncommon, they are beyond the possibility of any human being to manifest. Just see what transformation you are bringing about in people who are just seeing you. They are becoming mad with love for Krishna. Which living entity can produce this kind of effect? It's impossible. People are just seeing you and they are going to erupting into ecstatic love. Seeing you and they just madly start dancing. Some people simply hear your name and tears come from their eyes. These uncommon activities are incomparable. Nobody can describe them. So it is not possible for anyone, even a great Paramahamsa, to manifest these kind of potencies. It is never mentioned in the scriptures. No such example is there. Where is there this kind of a potency? Only the Supreme Lord himself can exhibit this kind of potency. You are Nanda Maharaj's son himself. It is not possible. Lord Chaitanya remained quiet. He didn't want to admit in public, but in his heart he knew. Because see, the thing is, Lord Chaitanya himself says this earlier, that those who are his sincere, pure devotees, even though the Lord tries to hide his identity, the Lord is not able to hide his identity. But anyway, being in public, the Lord didn't openly say, but nonetheless, he blessed all those gentlemen who had gathered there, and they all drowned in ecstatic love of, and eventually they went back to their homes. And then the Lord turned to Balabhadra Bhattacharya and said, you understand now? Now you still want to go to Kaliyada? No, no, I don't want to. Lord, sorry. Just said, you should have behaved better. You should have understood you are with me and what is this? So this is what happens. So Maya is so powerful. Sometimes he's with Krishna and he's asking Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, to say, I want to go to Yamuna and see Krishna. Krishna has appeared there. So anyway, so the Lord Chaitanya continued to stay at Akrura Tirtha, it is said, for a few more days. And the Lord's common pastime was, he would instruct people to chant the holy name, he would give them the holy name, and in that way he would give pure Krishna Prem. So as he was staying in Akrura Tirtha, the Sanodaya Brahmin was the disciple of Madhavendra Puri. He was managing invitations for lunch for Lord Chaitanya. So he would go and ask the local Brahmins from Mathura that, if anybody wants to serve Lord Chaitanya. And so many Brahmanas would be so eager to invite Lord Chaitanya to their home for lunch. And Balabhadra Bhattacharya would manage. They would all come and tell Balabhadra Bhattacharya, we want to, invite the Lord, we want to invite the Lord. And Balabhadra Bhattacharya would be so overwhelmed by the requests of the Lord to have lunch. It is said every day 10 to 20 Brahmanas would invite. And they would not directly invite Lord Chaitanya. They saw Balabhadra Bhattacharya as the secretary. The Brahmanas would be inspired by the Sanodaya Brahman, but they would come and bother Balabhadra Bhattacharya because they saw Balabhadra Bhattacharya as the secretary who will, manage Lord Chaitanya's calendar when he will have lunch at whose house. So various Brahmanas, either those who were from Mathura or even those who were visiting Mathura from various places of South India, they all came, and with great humility they were so eager to serve Lord Chaitanya. So the usual schedule was that in the morning, these Brahmanas, whoever was supposed to cook for Lord Chaitanya, they would actually come to Akrura Tirtha, and there they would personally cook for Lord Chaitanya, and then they would offer that bhoga as Naivedya to the Shaligram Shila, and then Lord Chaitanya, who would come back around lunchtime, they would serve the prasad, the Shaligram Shila, Lord Chaitanya. So like this, it was, going on. Of course, every day 20 invitations would come, but obviously Lord Chaitanya would be able to have lunch at only one place. So these pastimes we have heard earlier, but this was a common activity. Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan and his distribution of the holy name, his deliverance of living entities was common no matter where he went. And even wherever he would stay, this kind of an eagerness to serve Lord Chaitanya was also very common. So one day at Akrura Tirtha, because the Lord was staying at Akrura Tirtha, the Lord took a dip in the Akrura Tirtha. There is a Tirtha. The Akrura Tirtha, I don't know whether I mentioned this earlier, is the place where when Akrura ji was taking Krishna and Balram from Vrindavan to Mathura, this is the episode where he took them for the Dhanur Yajna, because they were invited by Kamsa to participate in the festivities because Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna and Balram, right? So of course he ended up being killed, but Akrura was sent, Akrura Mama, you go and fetch Krishna and Balram. So when they were on the way to Mathura, at the border of Vrindavan and Mathura, this Akrura Tirtha is there, where Krishna Balram and Akrura, they all took bath in this particular water body. And it is said when Akrura dipped into the water body, and went inside. And Krishna and Balaram were already inside the water. When he opened his eyes inside the water, instead of seeing Krishna and Balaram, he saw Anantashesh and Lord Vishnu lying on Anantashesh. And then he would come out of the water, he would see Krishna and Balaram. Then he would go into the water, he would see, you know, he would see the spiritual world where he would see Lord Hari reclining on Anantashesh. It was a very beautiful darshan. So Akrura was granted the darshan of the Vaikunthas. And he was very, very happy. And the same place, Akrura Tirtha, later in Krishna's pastimes, not later, later in the sense, still in Vraj pastimes, at one point, Krishna brought all the residents of Vraja to that place. And he showed all of them the spiritual world. So that's another very sweet pastime. I'll mention it very briefly. It's not mentioned in this chapter here. But there was this beautiful pastime when Krishna killed so many asuras and he did so many wonderful feats, all the residents of Vrindavan started feeling that this Krishna must be God. Krishna must be God. So they had a big conference. To cut a long story short, basically after that conference, they all concluded that yes, this Krishna is God. So anyway, they approached Krishna and and they asked Krishna that will we all get perfection after we uh, you know die, after this life ends? What will happen to us? So Krishna took them to this particular place and showed them. And when they went to this place and they saw, he said, "Yes, see, this is what is going to happen to you in the afterlife." So in that lake, when they saw, it is said they had a darshan of Goloka Vrindavan. They had a vision of Goloka because this is Bhauma Vrindavan and then there is Goloka Vrindavan. They had a darshan of Goloka Vrindavan where they saw all these residents of Vrindavan, of Bhumandal, Bhauma Vrindavan, also present in Goloka Vrindavan. And they saw themselves also there. So Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna gave them that vision that you are already there. That now you are, because of Yog Maya, not understanding what your actual position is. But you are all my eternal associates. So you are here, you are already perfect. When you go there, you will also continue to be perfect. So everything is wonderful and everything is perfect. So they became very, very happy. Of course, eventually after this episode happened, the Lord again covered over their intelligence so they would not think of him as God. But anyway, there was this sweet pastime, and this pastime also happened in the Akrura Tirtha area. So both the revelation of Vaikuntha to Akrura and the revelation of Goloka Vrindavan to the inhabitants of Vraja happened at this place. So when Lord Chaitanya, who was staying at that place only, he was so excited. It is described one day he went into this Akrura Tirtha to take bath, remembering the glory of this particular place. And he jumped into the water. And when the Lord would be in that place, he would go so much into the mood of the Lila that happened at that place. He entered into the water and remained inside the water, just like Akrura was in the water. Because Akrura, when he went into the water, he was so stunned because he saw the spiritual world. So Lord Chaitanya went into the water, and for a long time, he didn't even come out of the water. And Ballabhadra Bhattacharya and the Sanodya Brahman and others, they were all outside and they suddenly started, okay, where is Lord Chaitanya? Went into water, he has not come out, he has not come out. They all became so, uh, worried. So this Krishnadas, who was also with Lord Chaitanya, he started, when he realized that the Lord is not coming out, he felt that Lord Chaitanya is drowning. He started screaming and shouting, and Ballabhadra Bhattacharya came running there. He jumped into the water, he pulled Lord Chaitanya out. So after this episode happened, they were all very, worried. And Ballabhadra Bhattacharya took Sanodya Brahman to a secluded place and told him that, today somehow, because I was there, I saved the Lord, because when he goes into this ecstasies, he doesn't understand what is happening. So this is actually very dangerous. If we keep him in Vrindavan, and the problem is in Vrindavan, he gets into this kind of an ecstatic mood that is very difficult to control him. And Balabhadra Bhattacharya continued to complain to uh, the Sanodya Brahman. Said, this is not the only problem. One is Lord Chaitanya's mood like this, where he will hurt himself, is one issue. The other issue is I am being harassed by so many people who are every day coming to Akrura Tirtha to invite the Lord for lunch. If I give chance to one person, the other persons become upset. And they say, okay, at least tomorrow give us a chance. Then all of them will come, another 20 plus the previous one, days 19 will come, all will harass me. Then I have to deal with 39 people calling Lord Chaitanya for lunch. Then I have to give to only one person. The next day, another 20 will be added to the list. So I have to deal with almost another 58 people. It's become so difficult for me. And they become upset. I don't like to make them upset, but so the Lord's ecstasy and my challenge in handling all these invitations, both are actually causes of concern. I think it is not a very good idea to remain in Vrindavan anymore. I think we should leave. So please, Balabhadra Bhattacharya is telling the Sanodya Brahman, it will be good if we can get Lord Chaitanya to go out of Vrindavan. This is what I have concluded. So the Sanodya Brahman also started reflecting on the situation, and then he told Balabhadra Bhattacharya, yeah, perhaps what you are saying is also true. The Lord's mood here is very different, and we don't know how he may end up hurting himself. So let us do this. Balabhadra Bhattacharya, what you're saying is true. Let us induce him to continue his travel now from Vrindavan and go towards Prayag. And we can start traveling towards Prayag along the bank of the Ganges. Surely Lord Chaitanya will enjoy the path along, walking along the bank of the Ganges going towards Prayag. So let's do this. We will encourage Lord Chaitanya from here, from Akrura, to go to a place known as the Soro Kshetra, where there is a bathing in the Ganges. From there, let us induce him to go towards Prayag. Now the month of Magh just about beginning. So if we start in a few days' time, we will reach Prayagraj, Prayag Tirtha, just in time for Makar Sankranti, where we can take a bath. Correct. Now Kumbh Mela is coming, right? And Kumbh Mela is in Prayag. So now is also the Mahakumbha is there, and Makar Sankranti time is the big bathing time at Kumbh Mela. So they are probably also in December time. Magh means around this time. So the Sanodya Brahmin told Balabhadra Bhattacharya, you please, since you are the one who is most harassed, you please go and tell Lord Chaitanya that you are feeling unhappy. I don't have a problem. I am okay. I mean, I sympathize with you, but you know, I can't go and tell this to Lord Chaitanya. Then, you propose to him, if Lord Chaitanya is okay, I will also come along. Let us all go to prayer. I also don't want to give up the association of Lord Chaitanya. It's okay if he's not in Vraj, but I want to come along with all of you. And we'll propose like this. I'll support your proposition, but you are the one who have to breach the topic, and you have to explain what is the challenge. And you tell the Lord that, oh Lord, you will be very happy to travel along the Ganges. So if you sell him that idea, and he may be excited, because the Lord has so much love for Mother Ganga. This Ganga flows through Navadvip, right? The Lord has so much love. He has grown up on the bank of the Ganges in Navadvip. He loves Mother Ganga so much. So when they planned and discussed and established like this, then, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, once he approaches Lord Chaitanya and he explains the whole situation to Lord Chaitanya. And it was truly, I mean, for him it was becoming very difficult. He told the Lord, I can no longer tolerate this. They are coming one after another, they are harassing me. Early morning, you go there to do your japa, you are touring Braj, they all will come and, harass me. So please, I'll be very happy if we all, travel along the Ganges and go towards Prayag so we can take a bath in the Ganges at Prayag at Makar Sankranti. So this is my proposition, Lord. This is the situation. But at the end of the day, we are your servants. We cannot instruct you. We are just, explaining the situation. So we want your permission. This is our proposition, but we will accept whatever you want to do. So this is the right way to approach the Lord, right? I mean, in the sense that even if we want something, you don't go and instruct the Lord, do like this, do like this. The Lord is not our servant. Huh? So sometimes even if we want, we should, and we have a particular idea, even when even in our own prayers to the Lord, we can explain what we think. We can explain how we wish it to be, whatever it is. At the end of the day, our thing is we have to be in a humble mood. Oh Lord, this is my proposition and request, but ultimately you are the supreme knower. You know what is best. If it is your will and if you're okay to do this adjustment, if it pleases you, it's okay. Otherwise, I accept whatever. So devotee may pray, but at the same time, he's still okay if the Lord doesn't grant. So this is the consciousness we should work to develop. And one of the qualities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very sensitive to the needs of the devotees. And this is how a Vaishnava should be. A Vaishnava is not always thinking about what he wants. Lord Chaitanya would have loved to continue to be in Vraj for all time to come. But he felt, oh, these devotees, they are serving me so much. They are undergoing so much inconvenience because of me. So let me not put them under so much inconvenience. So Lord Chaitanya told Balabhadra Bhattacharya, very sweetly Lord Chaitanya told him, oh Balabhadra Bhattacharya, because of you only I have come to Vrindavan. Your kindness. I am so indebted to you. I am so indebted to you for bringing me to Vrindavan last so many days and that I have been able to spend so much time traveling around the forests of Braj. I am so indebted that I can never repay you. So I don't want to inconvenience you. Whatever you want, I am okay to do. Wherever you ask me to go, I will go. So Bhattacharya Bhattacharya was very happy. Saradhya Brahman said, okay, I am happy as long as I can come along. So it is said next day morning, very early, Lord Chaitanya got up, took his bath in the Yamuna and, full of ecstatic love. Uh, he started. Of course, Lord Chaitanya's mood was more deeper ecstatic love because he knew that now he had to, in his journey, depart from Braj. So the Lord controlled himself. Chaitanya Charitamrita says he did not show externally so much, but internally it is said his mind was full of ecstatic love. So Balabhadra Bhattacharya told at the time to Lord Chaitanya as they were leaving, as they were on their way out, they said, oh Lord, let us go through Gokul Mahavan. And from there we can continue our journey towards the Ganges. So Lord Chaitanya was seated on a boat. Balabhadra Bhattacharya arranged for a boat along the Yamuna to go to Gokul Mahavan. So as they were traveling, it was not just Balabhadra Bhattacharya and Lord Chaitanya, but Krishnadas, the Sanodhya Brahman, the assistant of Balabhadra Bhattacharya. If you remember, there was one more assistant Brahman, whose name is not mentioned. He was there. So total 4 of them were there. And they were all very familiar, especially the Sanodhya Brahman as well as the Rajput Krishnadas. They were very familiar along of the way along the Ganges, go towards Prayag. So they all went together. So they went to Gokul Mahavan. Of course, they took darshan and then they started their journey along the bank of the Ganges. So one very interesting episode happened as they were walking towards Prayag. Now that's a very interesting episode that is mentioned. It is said that Lord Chaitanya at one place, when he saw that all the devotees were very fatigued, because after crossing by boat, the Lord and all the devotees were walking for quite some time. along the bank of the Ganges. At one particular point, the Lord, seeing all of them tired, everyone was taking rest under a tree. So as Lord Chaitanya and the four devotees were taking rest, it is said very near to that place, there was a herd of cows. The Lord saw that herd of cows, and there was one cowherd boy. That cowherd boy had a flute, and he was playing a flute as he was grazing the cows. Now, any sight like this would put Lord Chaitanya in a totally ecstatic mood because it would immediately create uddipana. Uddipana means it triggers his ecstatic emotions. So when the Lord saw this cowherd boy playing a flute, he immediately remembered Krishna, he immediately remembered Gopal, and he was so much in ecstasy. It is said Lord Chaitanya fell on the ground unconscious. Not only Lord Chaitanya fell on the ground unconscious, but it is said that Lord Chaitanya's mouth started foaming because of his ecstatic love. And this was not happening for the first time. This would happen when the Lord would do deep ecstasies. This had happened so many times when the Lord was in Jagannath Puri. So as the Lord was in this trance and his mouth was foaming, practically the Lord's breathing stopped. So the Lord would go sometimes into this kind of deep samadhi. And it is well known that when yogis go into deep samadhi, sometimes all their bodily functions become suspended. Their breathing stops, the heartbeat stops. From all external practical perspective, the yogi appears to have left the body, died. But the yogi has not died. He has gone into a trance where he is in a kind of a suspended animation as far as his body is concerned. So the Lord went into a state like that. So externally, it seemed as if the Lord had no had no life symptoms. So as this was happening, of course, the devotees knew what had happened to the Lord. These four devotees, they were just waiting and standing on the side next to the Lord. So as this was happening, a particular band of Muslim soldiers who were Pathans, around 10 soldiers were there, who were riding on horse. They were riding around and they suddenly noticed this particular thing happening. These four individuals standing around this man who was lying down without any life symptoms, with mouth foaming. So these Pathans suddenly became very suspicious. What is going on? So they got down from the horse and they came and looking at Lord Chaitanya, and, and they felt that that he was dead, and they started suspecting that these four are actually robbers who killed Lord Chaitanya and tried to loot him. So they immediately started accusing us. Hey, what have you four done? You are robbers. Definitely, you have wanted to loot the sannyasi, and therefore you have killed him. See, he is foaming at the mouth. Huh? Definitely, you have fed him the dhatura poison, and you have killed him so you can loot him. Now we have caught you, and now we are going to kill you because you are dacoits. And these devotees were like, already one problem. Lord Chaitanya has gone into the ecstasy. Now these people are thinking that we have killed Lord Chaitanya. So these two Bengali devotees, especially Balabhadra Bhattacharya and the other Bengali assistant, they started trembling. And the Pathan said that we are going to kill all four of you. Krishnadas, who was a Rajput, he was very fearless. And Sanodya Brahman, who was also a very, very exalted devotee, disciple of Lord Chaitanya, he was also very fearless. So very bravely they spoke to these Pathan soldiers. So the Sanodya Brahman first spoke to the Pathan soldiers. He said, you are all soldiers of the king. I think you all misunderstood. So, you're not understanding what the actual situation. Can you call your boss? Please call your boss. I will explain to him what the actual situation is. Actually, the sannyasi is actually my guru. I'm from Mathura. I'm a Brahman. And I know so many people who are connected to your king. This sannyasi, sometimes he falls unconscious because, he's affected by a disease. Now, he did not want to say that he goes into ecstasy because he thought these people, what they will understand. I said, no, he has some medical condition. So the medical condition, sometimes he falls unconscious. So he's not dead. Just don't get excited. Don't think we have killed him or anything. You want to ensure no that he has not been killed. Just wait here. Don't get distracted by the foam and think Dhatura poison and all that. You just wait here. After some time, he will come back to consciousness. And this is a regular affair for us. So you come, you sit here, and while you are sitting here, you can keep us under arrest so we don't run away. And surely, when the sannyasi comes back to consciousness, you ask him what is the actual situation. He will tell you, matter over. And then, if you still find out we are lying, then you kill us, no problem. The Pathan soldiers were very angry. They say, you all are crooks, you are rogues. I can see you are also all come from different places. This person is from Mathura, this people are from Bengal, this person is Rajput. Surely something fishy. I think you're all dacoits only. So this Rajput, Krishnadas, he got very excited because he was from a Kshatriya background. This Rajput, he got very agitated. Itna samjhaya, he explained to you so nicely everything. Just wait, no? Why you are still threatening? So this Rajput Krishnadas, he very bravely he told his soldiers, my home is here only nearby. And I am a Rajput. I have an army of around 200 Turkish soldiers nearby and 100 cannons I have. If you act too smart, I will shout and they will all come and they will finish you all. Please trust us, what we are telling you. We are not telling you lies. We are not rogues. Nothing like this is happening. You wait here, like what this Brahmana told you, and you ascertain what the situation is. So as this whole chaos was happening and they were trying to manage these Pathans soldiers, suddenly Lord Chaitanya came back to consciousness, much to the relief of these poor devotees. And as the Lord was coming to his external senses, he loudly started chanting Hari, Hari, his arms raised high, and the Lord was dancing in ecstatic love. And can you imagine this Pathan soldier suddenly hear Lord Chaitanya chanting Hari, Hari and dancing? It was like a thunderbolt on the heart, an ecstatic thunderbolt on the heart of these uh, Pathan soldiers. Immediately they released these four devotees. And as Lord Chaitanya was coming out of his trance and he was saying Hari Hari, they immediately released. So when Lord Chaitanya came back to external consciousness, he did not see these four devotees arrested because they were practically caught up and were about to be, punished. So Balabhadra Bhattacharya quickly ran to Lord Chaitanya. He made him sit properly, and the Lord suddenly noticed, sorry, these 10 Pathan soldiers are there, and soldiers were also, just by seeing the form of the Lord, they were so touched and devotionally touched that they, came and, offered respects to Lord Chaitanya, which was very unusual for, Muslim soldiers to do. But they came and offered their respects. They were so influenced by the personality of Lord Chaitanya. And they told Lord Chaitanya, these four rogues, they made you drink dhatura and they poisoned you. And, by doing all this, they are trying to cheat you. Lord Chaitanya said, no, 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 these are not rogues. They are my associates. I am just a sannyasi beggar. I don't possess anything. What do I have to steal? What will they have to steal? They are taking care of me. Actually, I sometimes get this epilepsy attack and then I foam at the mouth and I fall unconscious. But these four are so kind to me. They wait for me. They wait for me to recover whenever this happens. And when I again feel better, they take me on my pilgrimage. So please, they are actually taking care of me. There's nothing to worry about. So Lord Chaitanya, explained like this and, much to the relief of the four devotees. As this was happening, there was one amongst these Pathan soldiers, there was one who was wearing a black dress, who was like uh, uh, a very grave person, was a saintly person. So his heart was especially affected when he saw Lord Chaitanya. So he came to Lord Chaitanya, and seeing that Lord Chaitanya is a very saintly person, this particular saintly Pathan soldier who had studied the Quran quite a bit, he came to Lord Chaitanya and he said, I want to discuss with you something about my Quran. And I want to discuss you about the impersonal Brahman that the Vedantists talk about, and how the impersonalist Brahman is also described in the Quran, and how the impersonalist Brahman is the ultimate. Lord Chaitanya told him, no, the impersonal Brahman is not the ultimate. The ultimate truth is the Supreme Personality of God. And then, very interestingly, Lord Chaitanya debated with this particular scholar of the Quran, was this Pathan soldier, and explained to him how his argument that the supreme truth is ultimately impersonal is false. And on the basis of the Quran, that ultimately God is a person. Lord Chaitanya, by quoting verses, those verses are not mentioned here, but he said in that conversation, Lord Chaitanya explained to him and proved to him that even though impersonalism is described in the Quran, just like it is described in the Vedas, the Quran also explains ultimately God is a person. The Quran accepts that God is a person, that he is full of all opulences, and that God's bodily complexion is blackish, is also mentioned in the Quran. Very interesting. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued that Quran also mentions that the Lord has a spiritual, transcendental body. Even though he is all pervading, omniscient, eternal, he has a form with an eternal spiritual body, and he is the origin of everything. So there was a very wonderful discussion, and he also convinced this particular Pathan that ultimate goal of religion, as explained Quran or explained in the Vedas, is ultimately that one should engage in devotional service to that supreme person. Then only the living entity can be relieved from material existence. No one can be delivered from material existence unless one renders service to the supreme personality of Godhead. And those who are chasing after the supreme Brahman, like what you are chasing, the happiness of that Brahman realization is insignificant as compared to the unlimited joy of pure devotion to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even in the Quran, there are descriptions of the processes of karma, jnana, yoga, and merging into the Supreme. But ultimately, even within the Quran, all these other processes are denounced as inferior to the ultimate process of full surrender to the Supreme Personality of God. In fact, it's not mentioned here, but in fact, the word Islam itself means full surrender. So, what we call as Sharanagati is what is meant by the word Islam. So, I have explained to you, Lord Chaitanya says, all these quotes from your own scripture. So, think about it carefully and tell me what is it that you think. And this particular Pathan was so impressed. He said, wow, what you have said is so true. This was always there in the Quran, but we couldn't see it. But you have explained the highest principles of religion so clearly from the Quran. And it's true, whatever you said. And actually, uh, I have also studied, but I also couldn't figure this out. And I think that only by your mercy we have been able to see this. uh, But Actually, this is very difficult. Most people, they read the scriptures, but they are unable to discern and understand the real meaning. There are so many scholars amongst our religion, but they also cannot understand the conclusions that what you are still. And they unfortunately considered the supreme truth to be impersonal. But now I'm so fortunate that I've got your darshan. I'm so fortunate that I've come to this right conclusion, and I can see that just by your association, huh, the name of Krishna is effortlessly coming on my tongue. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This Pathan is saying, not only I have understood, but just by your influence, the holy name is appearing on my tongue. All my ego of being very learned has disappeared. And this Pathan fell at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and requested him to instruct him. Practically, like, accept me as a disciple. Please instruct me on the real goal of life and how to attain it. Because that is the right question to ask the Guru. What is the real goal of life and how to? Sanatan Goswami also, when he approached Lord Chaitanya, that was the first question he asked. So Lord Chaitanya told him, get up. You chanted the holy name of Krishna. That's why just by even once purely chanting the holy name, all sins are destroyed. So now you're already purified. Then Lord Chaitanya gave a mini Bhagavatam class, not just to this particular Pathan, but to all the Pathans who had gathered there. And he instructed them to take up the process of devotional service. Chant the holy name of Krishna. Chant the holy name of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya instructed all these Pathans. And immediately they were induced in ecstasy to chant the holy name. They started chanting with great love. So by giving these instructions, Lord Chaitanya initiated these Pathans into the Vaishnava tradition. Lord Chaitanya changed the name of that Pathan, the one with whom he had that philosophical conversation, and he changed his name to Ram Das. And then another Pathan, whose name was Vijuli Khan, the Lord changed his name also and also initiated, in fact, he initiated all of them. That Vijuli Khan was actually a very young Pathan. He was the son of the Muslim king. And all others, including this Ramdas, were actually the servants of the king. So this Vijuli Khan also, seeing the transformation of this Ramdas, he also fell at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya blessed the son of the king by putting his lotus feet on the head of this Vijuli Khan. So he also got the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. It is said that influence of that interaction with Lord Chaitanya had such a profound impact on these 10 Pathans. Because just think of it, these 10 Pathans unknowingly did devotional service. Because they intervened to protect Lord Chaitanya. Because they, of course, they wrongly thought that those 4 devotees were hurting Lord Chaitanya. But nonetheless, they did it out of a sentiment of wanting to protect the sannyasi, who's Lord Chaitanya, from being robbed and attacked by these 4 people. And the Lord delivered them. It is said from that time onwards, they became like mendicants. They became, they gave up all attachment to the material world. It is said from that day onwards, these Pathans became known as the Pathan Vaishnavas. They became Vaishnavas. And they started touring all over the country, singing the glories of Lord Chaitanya. In fact, this Vijuli Khan, Lord Chaitanya put his lotus feet on his head. He became a very, very advanced, pure devotee of Lord Krishna. And it is said, many holy places sing of his extraordinary character. So in that way, the Lord transformed this group of Pathans to become Pathan Vaishnavas. So in that way, the Lord, performed this pastime where even the Yavanas and the Mlechas he delivered. So this was a very, very interesting episode of the Lord's transformation. The Lord Chaitanya has had at least 2 times, which is documented, discussion on the Quran. One is this episode where he discussed the Quran and the message of the Quran in the light of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy with the Pathans who became Pathan Vaishnavas. And he also discussed this with Chand Kazi, which we have already discussed earlier in the Adi Lila, where he discussed about the message of uh, Quran vis-a-vis Vedic principles. Of course, this was a much more deeper conversation. So this was talking about pure devotional service and about Krishna having, about the Supreme Truth having a form. So that was a very, very beautiful episode. So after that particular episode, Lord Chaitanya and these 4 devotees continued on their pilgrimage. They went as planned to the place of pilgrimage known as the Sorok Kshetra. There, Lord Chaitanya and all the devotees took their bath in the Ganges. Then they started walking along the path of the bank of the Ganges towards Prayag. But as they were progressing towards Prayag, as they were about to leave for Prayag from Sorok Kshetra, the Lord turned to Sanodiya Brahman and Rajput Krishnadas and he requested, now enough, you have spent enough time with me. It was never my intention to, bring a lot of people with me. I gave you the opportunity to serve me. So my request now is please go back to Mathura and continue your spiritual practices there. He said, no, 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 Lord, please don't give us this kind of an instruction to go back. Please let us go to Prayag with you. When will we ever get another chance to get your association? And my Lord, always devotees have some excuse why they have to be with Lord Chaitanya. And my Lord, this area we know very well. There are a lot of Muslim uh, kings and rulers who are occupying this place, and there is always disturbance. And although Balabhadra Bhattacharya is learned, but he doesn't know this area as good as we know. And we also know the local language. He doesn't know, he's a Bengali. He doesn't know how to speak in these areas as we go to Prayag. We are good in Hindi and all the local dialects and all that. So Lord Chaitanya, mildly smiled. He could understand. They are very attached to spending some more time with him. I said, okay. You, at least up to Prayag, you come with me. Then we'll figure out what to do next. So anyway, so these two also continued from Sorokshetra to continue along the Ganges all the way to Prayag. So, of course, along the way, the Lord's pastimes are similar. Every village he would go to, he would deliver. He would instruct one person to chant. He would be a pure devotee. Then that person would instruct somebody else to chant. That person would become a devotee. Like this, many, many beautiful pastimes. And one village after another, the Lord converted into pure Vaishnavas, just like he did in his South India. Finally, Lord Chaitanya arrived in Prayag. And as the chapter ends, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions that when the Lord arrived at Prayag, for 10 days he stayed in Prayag and every day he would take bath in the Sangam, where Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati meet. And especially during the Makara Sankranti, the Magha Mela, which will come again in January, February. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that, in this way, the Lord's pastimes are so unlimited. I have just described a little bit. But who can describe? Even Ananta Shesh cannot describe. So please just hear them with faith. Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are so uncommon and so extraordinary. If you just hear them with faith as I am narrating them, your life will be transformed. Don't argue about them because the Lord's transcendental pastimes cannot be understood simply by intellectual reason. So Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are like an ocean of nectar, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says. When one drop can drown the whole world in ecstatic prema. Praying at the lotus feet of Rup and Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai, Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki. Thank you very much. So we come to the end of the chapter. We have concluded chapter 18. So these wonderful sweet pastimes happened in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. They are all very purifying. And we hope and pray that as we are hearing these pastimes with faith, our faith and attachment to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and his divine message and in the holy name becomes more and more steady and firm. Because if we hold on to the holy name with faith, we chant the holy name, and we keep the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya in our heart, then, and we don't offend devotees, then very easily we can cross over the ocean of material existence and attain the divine lotus feet of Shri Radha Shamsi. Thank you very much. Any questions, any comments? Okay, so thank you very much for patiently. I especially appreciate Tuesdays, those who take the special effort to join and listen. I know Tuesday for you all it is 6:30 p.m. for those who are connecting from India, 6:30 to 7:30 now. So it's a bit may not always be so convenient, but you are making that special effort. So thank you for all of you who are making that effort. And I can promise you and tell you for certain that the benefit that you will get by listening to this Gaur Lila, you will not, you will never regret. Sometimes we do not realize the great blessing that we are getting with when we have these kind of opportunities. Actually, we cannot even estimate our good fortune that we have this kind of opportunities. And I'm not talking about opportunity of me speaking. I'm talking about the opportunity to hear Gaur Lila, just to be clear. Doesn't matter whom you are hearing from, as long as you're hearing from bona fide sources. So thank you very much. And these things will go a long way helping us in our spiritual sojourn. Thank you. So I will
Thank you very
connect
much.
with you on Saturday. By the way, Safala Ekadashi day after tomorrow. I know you all don't celebrate Christmas. Otherwise, I would have wished you Merry Christmas. Anyway, Srila Prabhupada would always respect Jesus Christ as a very wonderful example of a pure-hearted Vaishnava. So we offer our respects to him. Even though technically it's not his birthday, even though Christians say it is his birthday, we know it was not his birthday. That is another story. But nonetheless, it's a wonderful opportunity to glorify pure Vaishnavas. And Prabhupada would always accept Jesus Christ and he would in the West, especially appreciate him and glorify him as a pure Vaishnava. Came to India, learned pure devotional service, yoga from India, went back and preached. In fact, most of his teachings are very similar to Vaishnava teachings. In fact, Prabhupada many places says Christ is just Krishna, the word Krishna twisted. Christ, Christos, Krista, Krishna. Right? So how it changed from Krishna to Christ. So anyway, that's another full subject matter, but we are always happy. The message can be explained in different ways, in different forms to different people in a way that they will accept and make their progress in Krishna consciousness. So the principles of taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, having faith in Him, being detached from matter, being humble, being tolerant, these are all principles which are common to the teachings of Jesus Christ, and they are all subset of the teachings of pure devotional service also. So we definitely appreciate. Okay, so thank you and have a nice Safala Ekadashi Thursday. Fast break on Friday for Malaysia. Those who are in Malaysia note that the timing of fast break is a bit odd. It's 9:42 a.m. unlike the typical 7 a.m. So just make sure you make a note of that. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Anand Sundari Mataji. Jai
Thank you.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much,
Arun,
Prabhu, for the
Devi
wonderful
Mataji.
class. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Indulekha Mataji.
Hare
Sarvadash.
Krishna
Hey,
Rita
Prabhu.
ji.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay.
Suraj, Shalini
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna,
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you, Archana ji. Shalini ji, Haribol, Sridevi Mataji, Sini ji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sridhar ji, Haribol. Sridhar ji listens
Hare
very
Krishna,
attentively.
Prabhuji.
Archana ji, Leela Mataji, Dandavat. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So nice to see all of you.